Impacts for Tropical Storm Ian. First, we're going to go ahead and go over what I like to call, this is the GFS forecast model. This is one particular forecast model. And this is the simulated infrared, okay? So, as we go through the next 13 hours, we're going to be getting closer to hurricane strength. The next 20 hours, about 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we start to explode. Convective development, we start to potentially get an eye developing, and it will be hurricane status in about 25 to 30 hours. So this is 8 a.m. September 26th in the morning, and some of the warmest ocean water temperatures that we've seen in the last 12 years is in that area, and it's not out of the question sometime during the day, Wednesday or Thursday, we could have a Category 5 hurricane sitting in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. It's not out of the question. We're looking at a rather very large hurricane on September 26, 61 hours from now, and a very large hurricane, not a small compact system, but a very large hurricane at this time. Right now it's over the western tip of Cuba, and very well defined eye if this is this forecast model holds true. Now, this is 2 a.m. September 28th. This is 80 hours from now. A very large, potentially Category 5 hurricane just sitting in the Gulf. And now this particular forecast model, this is the tricky part, okay? So right now, from Louisiana down across the Florida panhandle there, we have a trough, and at this time we're going to have some shear in place. Now the problem is that these forecast models, especially the GFS, tends to want to stall these systems out, and right now I don't think that's going to happen. We're looking at a Category 4 to Category 5 hurricane with light shear in place. If it does go north, that's one scenario. I don't think it's going to take that northwest turn. I think it's going to curve a little bit to the northeast beforehand. And the reason why, and I'm going to show everyone that here now, is this. So what you're looking at is you're looking at a satellite imagery of convective development, basically. And one of the things to note here is about 9 hours ago we had the circulation. Follow my cursor. The circulation was right down here. Okay, it was a little bit to the south, to the southwest of where it is right now. We're looking at a new area right here, a new circulation back up towards the northeast by about 40 to 60 miles. And that being the case, we have to watch this very closely. Just back up to the northeast, it's going to take a turn more towards the northeast, and if that happens from Tampa to Gainesville, will be in that, will be more in that path. That also means that if it takes that turn, if it takes the turn going to the northeast, that means we'll have a stronger, more destructive hurricane, possibly Cat 4, most likely Cat 4 hurricane, hitting on the western coast of Florida. There's a lot of different variations in the forecasting right now, but confidence is coming together regardless of the outcome. Okay, so this is a intensity. This is a model intensity guidance. And at about what I said, 60 to 72 hours from now, we're going to be bordering that Cat 5 category strength. Category 4 definitely. Here in about 15 hours, we should be nearing hurricane strength, and then at about 24 to 30 hours, we should be near Cat 2, and about 35 to 40 hours, we should be nearing Cat 3, and then going up from there. We're looking at accelerated, rapid intensification from a tropical storm to almost a Category 5 hurricane in less than 70 hours. That's what we're looking at right now. That is a very rapid developing system. And another thing here, this particular model is called the HWRF, okay? And I want you to look at this model. This model does not follow the GFS model, but it's eerily similar, but not quite. It has the system about 30 miles to the northeast, just a little bit. Now I want to show you the HMON forecast model. And this one has it, let me go back a little bit here. This one has it even further by about 100 miles more towards the northeast, taking that more northeast turn. And so, with that being said, we have more forecast guidance, especially the European models, taking that system more towards a northeast turn. Regardless, if that happens, I'm gonna go forward here. This is the HMON forecast model, and this is 78 hours from now. A very large, very well organized system, pretty impressive, and it continues to grow. The HMON actually has this continuing to grow. Now, from right here, follow my cursor. From right here going down is where we are projecting to have some shear in this general area from the trough. Now, if we hit Category 5 or even a high-end Cat 4, the problem is that the GFS forecast system tends to stall that system out. But when you have a greater force meet a lesser force, it tends to counteract that, and it tends to push through. And we've seen that happen in the past, where we've had well-organized major hurricanes go through those environments where it's not exactly the greatest supportive environment for tropical development, but it doesn't have a big effect on it enough to where it will weaken it far enough down. There is a situation where that could happen. Very well. It very well could happen. But I'm going over the most ideal, the most probable situations. And I'm not throwing out the potential for it to follow more similar to the GFS forecast model. So this is the HMON, and now we're going to go to the HWRF, and as you see, it depicts a little bit more of a compact system, but still a very, very intense hurricane. We're nearing 9:55 at this point. This is 84 hours out. What I want you to pay attention to is it kind of takes that more northerly turn, and then it starts to turn a little bit, but it doesn't weaken very much at all. Right here you're looking at a 962. That's a very powerful hurricane. You're looking at like a 962 at that point, and this is at the 100-hour mark on the 29th, and you're starting to get some of those, some of the So, and even while the eye is on land right here, you're looking at a 969 right there. So that's one of those situations where you have to closely monitor it, because the HMON also kind of takes that more northeast turn when it gets past Tampa. The biggest thing to watch for is the circulation, a new area of circulation that forms back to the northeast, and that's what we've seen in the last 8 hours. Was we seen this new convective development on the northeast side. The area of circulation is right here, but what happens is when we have that new circulation, that new area form, it tends to form a new circulation in that area on the northeast quadrant. And that's what we're looking at right now. And some of the forecast models, I would say over the last 5 hours, have picked up on that. What does that mean? That means that it has a better opportunity to take that northeast turn, that northeast curve, and go from there. And that would mean a more intense system hitting the western coast of Florida. Now, if we don't see that prominent, evident new area of circulation develop, it will start to turn more northwest, then north from there in this general area. And if that happens, it'll go more into that shear. But the situation with that is if we get a nice Category 4, Category 5 hurricane in the Gulf, when it runs into that environment, you have to think, will that lesser impressive force be met with a greater force? Will that actually have the impact that some of the forecast models are depicting will have on it? That's a situation we're going to have to wait until we get further in. But right now, this forecast and this tropical update is to basically go over a few situations and also talk about what's going on right now. So I hope you all enjoyed. Please share. I appreciate it very much, and have a great night. We're going to be continuing coverage on this as we go through, and we'll be chasing. We'll be down there researching. Wherever it makes landfall, we'll be there. So please stay tuned for that as well, and have a good night.